reaching beyond the borders into the unknown. Welcome to Paranormal Investigations of Oklahoma.
Reaching across the borders into the unknown. Hello everyone, this is Kale, Epperson, and welcome to this edition of Paranormal Investigations of Oklahoma. First off, I want to apologize to the audience. I know everyone was real hyped up for that live edition from Parapalooza, but I just have to admit, it just didn't work out, folks. We had a lot of rain that came in during that time. Let me try to explain this to you. Friday night, when we had the beginning of it, it just started pouring. And when I mean pouring, I mean gully washer. It just gushed. So we ended up having to change locations from the old farmhouse, and we had to move to the old Mercantile Building there in Guthrie. And as loud as the rain was pouring down, with all the noise contamination, all you could hear is pattering on the old tin, and it was just really, really noisy. Saturday, we were hoping for better weather. It was the same thing. We got out to the old pavilion out there in Mineral Wells Park, and it was pouring rain again. Kind of dampened our spirits just a little bit because it slowed down the inflow of people coming in. I set up the system, got the computer going, got the mics and everything going. The pavilion's outside. You know, there's no walls to it. All you could hear is just the rain and the thunder. As much as I tried to tweak with the equipment, all you could basically hear is that rain drowning me out. So I wasn't able to do the live podcast from Parapalooza, which is disappointing on my part. And like I said, I apologize to everyone who missed that. I was really hoping to get that out there to you. With Parapalooza, I thought it turned out pretty good. We had some very professional paranormal researchers out there. A lot that we talked about was how the field kind of is backtracking. It just seems like we have reverted back to like the 1930s when it comes with paranormal research. I think it's kind of sad how basically if you get on these ghost hunter pages and blogs like on Facebook, it's very disappointing to see people posting stuff, and it's very, very obvious it's either fake, it's pareidolia, it's simple dust, it's lens flares, something with the natural occurrence, or it's easily can be recreated. It just kind of upsets me seeing these people post these photographs because they really either A, are trying to fake it and trying to say, yes, I got a ghost, or they think they have a ghost and they just want someone to confirm that they got something. And I don't think the people that post on those blog pages realize it's not that easy to get a ghost or paranormal photograph. I mean, here's the deal. Scientific research has shown that people's desire to believe in the paranormal phenomena causes them to discount the strongest evidence that it does not exist. That's why I feel like the paranormal investigation field has fell back at least 80 years. Everyone assumes every little thing is a ghost, even if it has been proven as a normal occurrence. I mean, for us in the paranormal research field or the investigation fields, we're supposed to disprove that ghosts exist at all. We're not there to prove that ghosts are real. We're there to disprove it. I mean, one of my favorite sayings, besides reaching beyond the borders into the unknown, here's another one that I came up with. To find the paranormal, you must first disprove the normal. By disproving your data, whatever is left over is paranormal. I mean, these people that are posting on these pages, they seriously want you to believe that they're super duper ghost hunter person and that the spirits are with them 24/7 and they just appear for you if you just ask. One of my friends, and he just recently got kicked off of one of those spiritual pages. I think it's a little unfair that he got kicked off. I mean, he likes to push the envelope just a little bit. Here's the story. Some lady posted a photo, not a photograph, but it's a video. And she claims she has a fairy in it. In the video, when you watch it, it's obvious she faked it. I've seen this lady's pictures and videos on these ghost hunter pages before. Not to be mean to her, I think she's a complete loon. And that's just being nice. And I'm not trying to be hateful. I try to have an open mind, and when people get on to and listen to the show, I want them to have an open mind. But when you get to the point where it's obvious you're faking stuff to make people believe that ghosts are real, and you fake that fairies are real and trolls are real, that's an issue. That's a major issue with me. I hate fakers because it makes our job in the paranormal research field and the ghost hunting field very, very difficult. Yes, I mean, we're not here to prove that ghosts exist. We're here to disprove it. But it makes it more difficult if Mr. Wacky Weed or Mrs. Crazyville starts posting stuff on Facebook or these ghost hunter pages claiming that they're ghosts when you're obviously faking it. I mean, I will call you freaking out on it. This is fake. It's very upsetting. I mean, we spend a lot of hours in the field, a lot of hours and days sitting behind a computer going over data so we can be accurate, we can be truthful. Yes, when I go on an investigation, if I don't get nothing, I don't get nothing. I don't lie to the client. I don't start posting stuff of, ooh, look at this, I got a ghost. It's just ridiculous. So when the skeptics come to me, it's really hard to convince them of paranormal activity because of these fakers that post crud like that. I mean, one thing that surprises skeptical people is when I tell them that paranormal investigators and researchers are really not trying to prove ghosts exist. We're really trying to disprove it. By disproving normal events, whatever data is left over is paranormal. It's very difficult to get a skeptical person because they think, immediately they think you're a fraud and a fake. And it's because of these crazy people. I'm just going to throw it out there. They're just freaking crazy. If you're posting fake stuff to draw attention to yourself and say, hey, look at me, I'm super duper psychic person, I'm super duper ghost person, I'm sorry, for us that's in the field, that's trying hard to research to find out what's going on, you're really hurting us. And this is separate from the ghost assumers. Now, a ghost assumer, with them, they're not crazy. Their only problem is they don't debunk. Now, a ghost assumer themselves, they'll find a picture like of dust, and they'll post a picture of dust, or lens flare, or something that's easily explained, and they immediately jump on the bandwagon of, it's a real ghost, there you go. Folks, let me break it down to you on a scientific level when it comes with orbs. I know you folks really want to believe that orbs are real ghosts, but I hate to break it to you. There is more scientific evidence proving that orbs are nothing more than foreign particles floating in the air, and it's your flash from your camera or from a different light source that's illuminating that particle, and that illumination is being bounced back towards the camera and is caught on film. That's it. That's all it is. And what gets me with the assumers, they'll get online and they say, prove it. Prove that that's not a ghost. Don't make challenges like that, because guess what? The experienced people in the field, they can back it up. You know, camera manufacturers now are posting with their cameras about how these little orbs of light are created. They're saying right there in the camera packaging and in the instruction manuals that it is caused by foreign particles in the air. They'll just flat tell you. Now, like I said, I want everyone to have an open mind. I'm not here to bash or to anger the ghost assumers. The fakes, you can be as mad as you want at me. If you want to voice your opinion on my YouTube channel, go right ahead. If you're a fake, you know you're a fake, you know you're a fraud, and I'm calling you out on it. If you like it or not. Because you know what? We're sick of it. We are sick of it. You are just making us, who are experienced and actually out in the field to study, to find out what's going on, you're hurting us. I mean, if you want to go and go thrill sinking in a cemetery and pretend you're talking to ghosts, go for it. But don't label yourself as an investigator or a researcher, because you're not. Especially if you're faking stuff. Now, with the ghost assumers, I really really truly believe they want to find out what's going on. The problem is they can't grasp a way that it could be not real. You know what I'm saying? As a ghost assumer, they really feel like everything's a ghost. Every little tap, every little noise is paranormal, and they just don't debunk. It makes me mad on these pages. The assumers, they start bashing and harassing the experienced people. I was on one of these pages. It was called Paranormal Proof and Stories, if I believe. I want to give hands off to the admins because they're really trying hard to keep it on a scientific level. Now, they're open to the spiritual side of it too, but they don't want any bashing. Now, when you get onto these pages, now if you're scientific in your field and you start bashing the spiritualist people, guess what? You're going to get booted off. You're going to get deleted off. If you're a ghost assumer, thrill seeker, or whatever, and you're bashing or cursing, doing whatever because you're upset because someone debunked a photo, tough on you if you get booted off, because we don't need that. These pages, I hate to say it, some of these pages out there, they're really trying hard to figure out what's going on. Now, on like pages like, Paranormal Proof or whatever, or debunked ghost photography, when they put photographs on there, if I have a ghost photograph and it's got something strange in it, and if I post it on Facebook, I'm wanting it debunked because I'm missing something. Maybe it's a lens flare or something, but maybe I don't know what it is. And maybe somebody that's got a little more experience can sit there and say, no, Kale, that's caused by the camera malfunction or something like that. But if you post a photo on there and you get mad and pissy because of someone debunked your photo and you just want someone to confirm it's actually a ghost, you probably don't need to be posting pictures on there. And that's not to be mean, it's just stating the fact. Because truthfully, it's getting real old to get on these pages, get torn up because you offered an opinion. And some people feel like, well, if you're scientific, you're not keeping your mind open for the spiritual side. And I even had one lady ask me, oh, I guess, Kale, you're not a spiritual person, are you? What does me being spiritual have to do with paranormal research? I can be a spiritual person, I could be an atheist person and still be in paranormal research. That has nothing to do with it. Myself, I'm a God-fearing person. People ask me, what's your religious belief? I'm not too big into religion. I fall more on the Christian side of it, okay? I'm a very spiritual person. I pray for my group. But every paranormal group, they got different religious beliefs. Either positive or negative. I'm not much for the negative groups. Being a spiritual person and being in the paranormal, you don't have to be. And some people believe that you have to believe in ghosts if you want to be in the field. Well, guess what? I have skeptics on our team. Why? Because I need that. To help me, if I present something, they can sit there and go, that doesn't look like a ghost to me. I need that skepticism. That's what it's all about. And one thing you have to realize when you're in the paranormal field or the paranormal research field is what if ghosts just don't exist? Kale, don't say that, Kale, gosh darn it, ghosts exist because they live in my house and they haunt my car and they turn my toilet on and Folks, when it comes down to it, scientists just do not believe in ghosts. Why? Because there's other scientific reasoning that it could be happening. What if all this phenomena is just because of something naturally made? It could be. Truthfully, the only true evidence that there's a possibility that ghosts exist is photographs, as long as they're not faked or using ghost apps. I mean, a legit photograph where you can go, yeah, that's different. And EVPs, electronic voice phenomena. Those are the two things that we got for proof that there's something beyond our realm, beyond our existence, beyond the grid. If you hear any background noise, my apologies. I'm actually in my living room doing the podcast. I'm usually in another room, but it's not as comfortable, and you might hear my My dogs or my cats making noise, so my apologies for that. But back to it again. What if? What if? What if ghosts aren't real? But if they are real, we might find something to detect that. Well, Kale, don't you have all this equipment to talk to ghosts? Again, just as a reminder, in case you're new, listening to this podcast, all that fancy equipment that we have in our bags, yes, we carry bags of equipment in. You know what that equipment is used for? No, we check the environment. Gauge meters, we got several different types of gauge meters. Those pick up electromagnetic fields. We look for hot spots because we know on a scientific level, if the EMF is really, really strong, it can cause you to hallucinate. Your brain's got electrical impulses going, and if this field hits it, your body's trying to determine what's going on. Why am I being affected like this? So naturally, from keeping you going insane, you immediately come up with something. So you start hearing voices, hearing your name being called, and seeing stuff. I've been on home investigations where it's their plumbing making noise. It's something that's a common occurrence. Have you ever thought it could be just a building settling? Folks, you have to understand that when we go out and do this research, it's to determine if this stuff is real or not. A lot of the investigations I go on prove more that ghosts do not exist than they do exist. Now, I've been on investigations where I got EVPs, and you're like, what the heck? We didn't hear that when we were asking questions. That's paranormal. We can't understand why that's happening. You got a digital recorder in an empty space. We do it at night because there's no contamination. We ask our questions, take a pause period, waiting for a response back. And then when you play that recorder back and you say, what is your name? Can you tell me what your name is? And you get a name like Bob, but you didn't hear that with your own ears? And I know you guys, if you've ever been on investigations, you hear disembodied voices, disembodied sounds. And you know there's no one there that could make that noise. That's paranormal. Or you're in some musky old building and all of a sudden you smell a woman's perfume and you know it's not coming off of none of your team members. That's paranormal. I know this sounds like another rant, and I can't help it. I just need to do it again because it's very obvious. I just don't think people get it. I made somebody mad on one of these blog pages one time, and my statement was, it doesn't matter if you're a psychic or a medium. If you don't have checks and balances, you can't use that as evidence. You can't use your abilities as evidence. I immediately got unloaded on. And how you know a fake and a fraud and a ghost assumer is immediately they call you negative. You're a negative person because you debunked. You're negative because this is really a ghost. You don't know my abilities. You're a negative person because you debunk. You know what? You're right. I do not know what your abilities are. You could be having psychic impressions. You could be a medium and feel energy and stuff. You know what? If you have those abilities, that's great. Myself, I'm not a psychic. I'll occasionally have weird dreams and maybe later on they come true, or I can go into an abandoned location and I can be a little bit more in tuned, or any location claimed to be haunted, and be in tune with the environment where I can feel the changes. But here's the deal. We have to have checks and balances. So if I go in, I'm like, oh, I'm getting a headache. Gosh, why am I getting a headache in this room? And they pull out the gauge meter and the EMF is suddenly spiked. Hello? Checks and balances. Even though I still have to use that as an experience. I can't document what's happening in my mind or how another team member is feeling. I can't use that as evidence. There's no way of documenting that. We could use it as checks and balances, but when it comes with psychics, I can go into a location with a psychic and he or she may be dead on about sensing stuff. And then later on research and find out, hey, they were right. But to a skeptic, you got to think like a skeptic in this field. Well, how do I know you didn't go in that location and research beforehand? It would be easy to get on the internet and go, okay, a guy died here, his name was Bob, and he was 22 years old, and he liked to wear overalls, and on occasion he would drink beer. I mean, come on, guys. You just don't know. It's hard to document psychic abilities. Again, with an open mind, I do personally believe there are psychics. There are mediums out there. I don't really fall back on it too much, and it's just because it just can't be documented properly. And there's a lot of well-known psychics out there, some that's already passed on, but it's really hard to document that stuff. I mean, on a scientific level, a lot of those psychics have been just freaking debunked. Others, they nailed it on the head. I think when it comes to psychics and mediums, I don't think they can just leave that switch turned on all the time where they're a psychic and a medium all the time. I think there's on occasions where they may be just off. They may be just getting impressions and you can't nail it on the head. On a spiritual level, and if you're a psychic and a medium, you already know different things can affect your visions and your senses. Maybe you're sick and not feeling good that day. Maybe there's reasons why, naturally, why you can't sense something. Maybe there was an earthquake, something that happened, solar flares, maybe the planets weren't in alignment just right. You just got allergy symptoms. Maybe you just had a bad day and you're mad and you're angry. I mean, it could be any reason. I think it's no different when I spoke with Harlan Bell, and he's a spiritualist and a reverend who ghost hunts. You know, one of his statements is, if I'm not feeling well or I'm mad or angry, I won't do a cleansing. So I think that works the same way with psychics and mediums and stuff, is they have their off days just like everybody else. I mean, I'm sure people have already listened to us and hopefully haven't clicked me off yet. Like I said, please be open-minded. I'm trying to, be open-minded to both sides. I'm sure if you're a skeptic listening to this, like, I don't believe in that crud about psychics and stuff. Well, good for you. I mean, we need skeptics in the field, but we don't know these people's abilities. I tell you what, I've been in this field for a while, and I've known psychics and mediums and precogs and stuff, and you'd be surprised where they can nail it right on the money. I still keep my mind open on that. I mean, that all goes back to parapsychology. We don't know why it's happening. Now, since I mentioned that, one thought has occurred to me for the ghost phenomena. What if ghosts are nothing but something we created on our own? Maybe it's something psychic. Maybe it's our energy that's creating it and they're not really spirits. And that's just to be open-minded. Just throwing it out there. When I was in on the investigation at Parapalooza, we investigated a witch's Guthrie Haunts. And with Guthrie Haunts, it's a fun park. It's scare grounds. I mean, it's a fun house. They have zombies and monsters, and they have creepy things all inside the building. Everybody knows what a fun house is. First time I investigated there, it was right when it first opened up. All right, they just started turning it into a fun house, so people really haven't been through there yet to be scared. Now, we did our investigation there, and as we're going through this place, the power's off. Yeah, some of the rooms have creepy stuff in there. A lot of the rooms, it's not set up yet. They're trying to get it ready to go. And I noticed that the team members and the people on the investigation, they were getting creeped out and scared. And one thing for me, on a kind of a sensitive or medium type feeling I got, is that I was sensing the atmosphere has totally changed. It would get real heavy, and it just felt odd. You felt like somebody was watching you, staring at you, like they were going to reach out and grab you, and you just wanted to jump back and hide somewhere. And it was a very odd feeling. And we had a skeptic on the team, and she got the crud scared out of her. But she's getting scared in places where there's nothing in the room. She just felt like there's somebody else in the room. Now, this place has been open for a long time. And what we were discovering is all that leftover residual energy and all that energy that was put out by everyone who walked through that building, getting scared and throwing that energy out. It was being stuck in the environment. Right at the beginning of the conference, or just right before the conference started, we did a walkthrough of the fun house. And as we're walking through, she's not big into fun houses at all. She can walk through a demon-infested, freaking abandoned location, and she's fine. Get her in a fun house where everything's fake, she's scared of it, and a lot of it, it just boiled down to, just a bad experience as a child. And the owners of the fun house showed up. They were showing us the tour of the building. In one area, they hit this foghorn, and it scared the crud out of her. The area that we're in, it's not even spooky looking. It looks like two wooden fences on one side with these fake tombstones that says Rip Frankenstein, Rip Dracula type thing. It kind of looked a little corny, but I'm sure with the lights and stuff off, it'd be much scarier. The deal was, that area, she got scared because he hit that horn. She threw all this energy out just from being scared. Now, later on that night when we did the investigation, before we started the investigation, me and one of the investigators, me and her just walked through there just to make sure there wasn't no bums or nothing in. She got to the spot where the team owner got scared before, and she started feeling that energy. Because immediately before she walked in, she goes, this doesn't even look scary. But once she got in there, she was picking up and feeling that energy of other people being scared. It started freaking her out. And we ended up having a group meeting there talking about it. And once everybody sat down and we discussed what was going on, the team started relaxing, and then the atmosphere reverted back to normal. It wasn't scary anymore. We just discovered that spiritual energy is still lingering around. It's just from people being scared. Through the recordings and stuff, we didn't get any EVPs that night. It was still a good experience for us, for residual energy left behind. I thought it was great. It was a stepping stone for our team. I'm hoping one day we will discover some way of picking up that spiritual energy. Everybody really thinks that EMF or electromagnetic field is what ghosts put off. I think they use that energy to do stuff with, like light up K2 meters and ghost meters and stuff. I think the true spiritual energy, I think it's on a totally different level, and we just haven't come up with a device to pick that up with yet. But what was great that night, we still tested out the Ovilus and the Spirit Box. And I think almost every team now has one. If you don't, I want to say that Spirit Boxes, the SB7s, probably run about $80 or less. The Ovuluses, depending on how old they are, run from about $300 or less. The more we got into studying these Spirit Boxes and stuff, on a scientific level, we're really starting to figure out that you really can't use these as evidence. Our lead tech on the team, with his Spirit Box, our lead tech, he recently purchased this little pouch called a Faraday cage, where you could put the Spirit Box inside, and what that does, it blocks the radio signals coming in. So when you're playing it and it's cycling through the channels, you're getting nothing but white noise. So we've been testing that out. And we learned with that small cage, and all it is just a pouch. Yes, we didn't get any, radio voices coming across. But we didn't get any, other spiritual voices on there either. So we're still testing it. With the Ovilus, the more we started using the Ovilus, we're almost curious if that thing has a built-in microphone. I'm not saying if it does or if it doesn't. I'm not here to bash Bill Chappell or his company of digital dowsing. I think they make great stuff. I enjoy using their devices. The deal is I don't know how the device works. And I'm just going to flat tell you, when it comes with the Ovuluses or anything digital dowsing has, they do have a disclaimer that it's for entertainment purposes only. They don't make any claims that it talks to ghosts or spirits or demons or aliens. I really think with Bill Chappell, he's really trying to discover something like the Frank's box to see if that's a way to commune with spirits. On a liability standpoint, I understand why they got that stamped on their paperwork as a entertainment device. Because I've used the Ovilus and the Spirit Box out in the field, And most of the time it's just freak coincidence. There's times I've gotten checks and balances with it, like we were speaking about Friday night on Parapalooza during the investigation. We were talking about, hope everyone's got their windows rolled up because it's raining, and all of a sudden the obelisk said car. And stuff like that, you almost wondering if, with you talking and asking questions, is this obelisk some way is got a microphone or something, it's picking up what you're saying and it's converting it to something else to make it sound like it goes along with your questions. So that's one thing I'm going to be testing out in the field. So on one of the investigations, I'll probably just throw out some random word that's not, try to think of a word or something and use different resources. Like, for say if I wanted to say car, so I would say just crazy stuff like, do you have a Ford Mustang? Do you have a Chevy Camaro? Do you have a Dodge Dart? I just name different auto parts, transmissions, motors, just different stuff like that, just to see if that obelisk is going to spit out anything that has anything to do with cars. And I'm sure some of you people are like, well, how do you know the ghost isn't replying back? Yeah, I don't know. But, we have to test this stuff to see if it is actually true or not. But, after all the investigations that I do, even if I use the spirit box and the obelisk, if I use that stuff as an experience, and I'll flat tell the client, I said, okay, we got some weird things from the obelisk and from the spirit box. We can't use it as evidence, but we're using it as an experience. Because remember, the only evidence that you have is what? Photographs and EVPs. Before I start wrapping up the podcast, just want to talk about a couple things. I mean, it's getting, we're in September now. The weather's just being weird. Everybody knows in Oklahoma in September the state fair is going on, so I recommend everyone going out to the state fair. Also, with September, October, there's other things going on, like Guthrie Haunts. I really recommend that you go visit those guys. It is a cool, fun house to go to, and you never know, you might have a real paranormal experience out there. They do have new features, which include a vortex tunnel, which is freaking awesome. You get inside this thing, and you're on a little bridge, and the whole room is spinning. It's like one big tunnel, and it's spinning, and you feel totally off balance, which is really cool. And then they got the asylum and the hillbilly village. Zombies, and the hillbilly village is going to be really cool. It's got hillbillies that are cooking people and stuff. It's really sweet. The blackout night is November 1st. It's one of those touch and grab features, so just kind of FYI when you go there. Looks like the dates are going to be October 17th, 18th, the 24th, 25th, 31st, and November 1st. Visitors are welcome Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in October and November 1st. Looks like it starts at 7 p.m. and it goes through midnight. $10 admission with a flyer. You can either go to Guthrie Haunts and get a flyer. Looks like it's located at 4524 Riverside Circle in Guthrie, Oklahoma. What's cool with this place, if you do have a paranormal experience, keep your mind open. Because where this place is, behind it, there is a large water source, and when you travel down there, you're going to have to go over this bridge, and there's a river, a large river. Guess what? Rivers, large bodies of water are known to carry that spiritual energy. Plus, there's a railroad track. There's always railroad tracks in Guthrie. That's why it's Guthrie. So you got the train tracks there. Got all this weird energy there. So you got to go check those guys out. Guthrie Haunt Scare Grounds. Go check them out. Alrighty, it looks like Pros Investigations and Midnight Paranormal are teaming up together to do some ghost tours at the Guthrie Mercantile Building, which is located across the tracks of the old Santa Fe train station. And that's going to be located on West Oklahoma Avenue there in Guthrie, Oklahoma. It's going to be $5 admission. Looks like the tours start from 8 p.m. and it goes through 2 a.m. in the morning. And that's going to be Friday and Saturday nights, okay? And this is just going to be going on year-round, folks. Donations are accepted for the preservation of the historical site. Ask the team about their Paranormal 101 course. Contact information is going to be 405-339-4645. And check that out. $5 to get in to do a ghost investigation or a ghost tour through the old Mercantile Building. You'll get to use the same equipment that the pros use, guys. And when I mean pros, I mean the professional people in the paranormal research field. You could take your own camera in. You could take your own recorder in. If you got an EMF meter, bring it along with you too. I mean, we have stuff you can use, but if you need to use your cell phone and take a picture, go for it. This is a very cool location. Yeah, like I said, the Mercantile Building is located west of the Santa Fe train depot there in Guthrie, Oklahoma. Okay, like I said, the old Mercantile Building is located west of the Santa Fe train depot in Guthrie, Oklahoma. The building was built in the late 1880s, and it was used as that era's modern-day Walmart. People from all over the area would travel there to purchase everything from household to farming items. The basement was used as a temporary housing for some of the men who worked on the railroad. In fact, it still holds items such as couches and chairs. 2 additions were made to both the east and west sides of the building in the 1940s. Those areas, I think, are used for storage today. It looks like it's also been used in the past as a location for film crews. A jail cell was constructed for one movie and still stands today. To date, paranormal researchers have investigated the old Mercantile Building dozens of times and gotten several EVPs from the basement area, first floor, as well as the second. So I would really recommend you need to go and check that out. If you like ghost tours, stuff is just starting up. It's the old Guthrie Mercantile Building. Yeah, I would go check that out. I mean, the money that you spend for the ghost tours goes for the preservation of that old building. One thing for me as a ghost investigator or researcher, I'm also a big historian. I love our old buildings. I love the past. I think that's one reason I like investigating when I get EVPs, because I may be hearing a voice from the past. I think these old buildings and stuff, I mean, it's us. It is our history. We need to preserve these places. The old Mercantile Building, folks, it's starting to get water damage. I mean, it's an old building. The rain's leaking in there. It's damaging the building. The roof needs to be fixed. Heaven forbid an old historic location falls due to, no way of keeping up with it. The building is privately owned. Pros Investigations and Midnight Paranormal, we use this location as a paranormal research center because it's active. We get EVPs out of there all the time. You get weird smells, a woman's perfume, in a damp, musky basement. There's a lot of historical stuff that's in there. We need to preserve our history, folks. We really, really do. We try to, in the paranormal field, to do charity work and to protect our historical locations. We are really big into that. I really want you folks, if you can, come out and visit. Have plenty of questions to ask. The people that, from Pros and from Midnight Paranormal, they build in the field for a long time. They can answer your questions. I really recommend that you go. Do the ghost tour. Try to get some EVPs. See if you get some experiences. Help save a Oklahoma historical location. I'll be there. Will you be there? Well, folks, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Sorry, I really didn't have a main subject to talk about. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. This is more falls into just regular old podcasting. That's what we do on podcasting. We just talk. Share information if we can. I have guest hosts. I'll go visit. I will travel. I will go here. I will go there. Wherever they need me. Or I may be just sitting in my living room. I'm here to, not just entertain you. I'm here to educate too. When it all boils down to it, we're all reaching beyond the borders into the unknown to discover what's really going on out there. Till next time.